previous video, we have taken a look at the process of pollination. Can you recall the process? This process occurs in flowering plants. The pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same or a different flower. We have also taken a look at the different types of pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now let us see what exactly happens after pollination. The next and the most important step is that of fertilization. Now, what's this process exactly? Fertilization is simply the process of fusion of the male and the female gametes to give rise to a new embryo. Before understanding this process, let's understand these terms which are new for us. Firstly, let's get to know what gametes are. Gametes are the specialized cells which serve the function of reproduction. We find these cells in organisms that carry out sexual reproduction. For now, we only need to know that gametes will be different in the males and the females. And sexual reproduction is where the gametes from both male and female individuals will unite to give a zygote. What is a zygote? It is a single cell structure formed from the fusion of male and female gametes. This single cell further develops into an embryo. And what's an embryo, by the way? It is the structure that will further develop into an organism. So gametes are the special cells called sex cells present in organisms that participate in sexual reproduction. Fusion of the two gametes, one from a male and the other from a female, will give rise to a zygote which will further develop into an embryo. This embryo grows and develops into a baby organism. These were a few terms that we had to know. Now let's get back to the fertilization process in plants. Let's define it again. It is the process of fusion of male and female gametes to give rise to a new embryo. After pollination is successfully accomplished, how does fertilization occur in plants? Let us zoom into the structure of a typical pistil, the female reproductive part of the flower. The pollination process has caused the pollen grains to safely land on the stigma, which is seen here. For fertilization to occur, the male gametes need to reach this lower part of the pistil called the ovary, where the female gamete awaits it. The female gamete or the egg cell is present inside the ovary. To form a zygote, the female gamete has to fuse with the male gamete. Now, how will this happen? It is made possible by a structure called the pollen tube. This tube is formed from the pollen grain itself. The tube travels down the complete style and ultimately reaches the ovary. The tube carries along the male gamete that is safely taken to the ovary. Now, once the gamete reaches the ovary, the two fuse, giving rise to the formation of a single cell. This is the zygote, and the zygote will further develop into an embryo. Zygote formation in plants marks the completion of fertilization. What happens next? What will happen once fertilization is successfully accomplished? After fertilization, the ovary develops into a fruit and ovules develop into seeds. What's an ovule? An ovule is a part of the female reproductive system that will develop into seeds after fertilization. This is all we need to know for now. We will get into the structure and functions of ovule in higher grades. So getting back, the ovule forms the seeds, which is nothing but a structure containing the embryo inside it. The baby plant. A baby plant that is yet to develop means it needs utmost protection. That is why we have the seed. A seed remains safe and guarded by a seed coat which protects the inner delicate parts and the embryo during unfavorable conditions. So how does a plant grow from this single seed? When seeds are sown in the soil and when they achieve favorable conditions, they germinate to give us a new plantlet. Now the next question is, how do seeds get rooted every time in the soil? Let us get to know the concept of seed dispersal and a few more interesting concepts in the next video.